for the next news story that I wanted to do today, in all the news stories typically be about incidents that happen in black society, some good, some bad. But I I'm a big proponent of the system that we're under. You want to call it white supremacy, you want to call it racism, whatever you want to call it. We are under a system that treats us a particular way because of our skin color. And I think it's important that everybody in our society, regardless of everybody in black society, regardless of how you react to it, regardless of if the information makes you a revolutionary or if it makes you a conspiracy theorist, if the information makes you look at people funny or tend to be a little more not hateful, but sometimes learning about black history, sometimes learning about things that have happened to us, learning about the incidents that we go through today, sometimes that can turn you kind of sour and make you not like another race of people or something like that. You feel me? And I don't want that to be the case with anybody, but we all have to be knowledgeable about what goes on in these streets. We all have to be honest about where we are in society. So the next story I want to talk about is out of Ball State University. So what happened is a young brother by the name of Sultan Mufasa Benson. I like that name, Sultan. Sultan Mufasa Benson. He walked into one of his classes, right? As he walks into the class, he sees that somebody's in the seat. So the professor tells him to go to a different seat. He goes to a different seat, no problems at all. Begins doing his assignment, starts getting into the lesson, doing his job, learning, doing whatever he was supposed to do. After he got situated, the kid that was sitting in his seat left. The professor told him, the professor, who his name is Shaheen Borna, he's a Caucasian gentleman. He told him, okay, the guy that was sitting in your seat's gone, get up and go back to your seat. Well, at this point, Sultan was already comfortable. He was already, he had his workout and everything. He was already situated in his seat. So he tells him, no, I don't want to go back to my old seat. Simple thing, right? So the professor should have just said, whatever, you can stay in that seat. Well, what ended up happening after they went back and forth, maybe a small argument, right? Maybe having some words with each other. The professor threatens to call the police on him. Before he knows it, the professor goes outside and speaks to the police. Now, so he basically did call the police on the young black student. Now, of course, the police didn't do anything. They didn't arrest him. This was campus police. None of that actually happened. But the main reason why I wanted to mention this story is because we have this thing in our society with certain members of white society where they feel like, because of, and this is my opinion, because of what we've been through in this country with the police departments of the United States of America, and because we have such a strained relationship, everybody's watching what happens to us on the news, when we get shot by the police, when the cops do all this negative activity that happens with us and the police. White society sees this, and what happens is, what we do when we allow us to get shot, when we allow different things to happen to a black man or woman, and there's no nothing happens to them, they don't go to jail, they don't get reprimanded in any way. I think a lot of people in black society realize that the police is my weapon against y'all black asses. You feel me? So in a lot of instances, I think instead of trying to work with us, instead of trying to just be more human to a degree and figure out a problem, because they understand how the police treat us, because a lot of Caucasian men and women in this country see us as inferior and have like this ingrained hate/fear for us based on nothing substantial, based on nothing that has actually happened in society where we've done things. There's never been a mass like killing of white folks by black people. You know what I'm saying? So there's really no reason to be scared of us like that. But if you listen to Frances Cress Welsing, Dr. Frances Cress Welsing, her book, she really goes deep about a lot of the ingrained fears of white society based on genetic annihilation and all this other shit. That's some other shit, but which everybody should look into. That's Dr. Frances Cress Welsing book, The ISIS Papers, kind of goes into that. But if we look at how we're treated by white society, a lot of the times when we look at the fear, when we look at how we're handled, it's obvious that there's some ingrained issues going on. And Another thing I like to tell black folks, it's unfortunate, but when you're a young black man, I would say starting from 12 and up, depending on how big you are, when you interact with authority, whether it be a teacher, a professor, whether it be a cop, you're not really being looked at as a damn child. You 12, 13, 14, but they're looking at you like a grown man. For some reason, your black skin ages you like 10, 12 years, and all of a sudden, you a grown man and should be handled as such. You feel me? So, of course, the professor in this situation has came out and apologized because there's a video of it, a lot of heat on his ass. So of course he's going to apologize. Of course, the Ball State University president came out and said, you know, the professor made a gross mistake or something along those lines. And the point, family, is unfortunately, with being black in America, there is still a large section of society that sees your black skin as a threat, and understand that they have a team of people they can call on your black ass and get you exiled, whether that be cops, whether that be school police, whether that be regular police. They understand that in a lot of cases, the police is there to solve their problem, whereas they're meant to, their arrival for us sometimes mean it's going to create a problem for us. You feel me? So please, black parents, do yourself a favor and talk to your children about interacting with cops, interacting with white men to a degree. We shouldn't treat anybody differently based on what race they are, but that's why I'm such a big proponent of history, because if you learn how we've been treated, when you learn the details behind a lot of the situations we've had to endure, not just see the headline, but actually study the details behind these situations, you'll see that a lot of the things that we see today is nothing more than history repeating itself. So talk to your kids about interactions with cops. Talk to your kids about interactions with white males in public. That's why I'm really a big advocate of how we raise our children in our home. And now, of course, we have to always I'm not gonna preach to my kids be compliant in every situation, because I think you should stand on what you believe in and be ready for the consequences to a degree, but at the same time you need to be smart about how you move. I mean, in certain instances when police are involved, you're behind enemy lines at that point. That's how I see it. So, there's a particular way you should move, but just capitulating in every situation, that's not going to get us out of this rut that we're in. So it's a difficult thing, man. It's a difficult balance that needs to be created. But if you don't talk to your kids about it, if you don't educate them on how some of these things work, you're kind of leaving them out there to dry, in my opinion. You feel me? So that is it for the news stories.